preview segment of the Three Quarters podcast, your official podcast for the 2018 Rugby Africa Gold Cup. Also remember to jump onto the hashtag #RoadToJapan to support your team as they look to qualify for the Rugby World Cup in 2019 in Japan. I'm Janine Duffield.
And I'm Ngara Kamuya.
So we'll look at this weekend's matches.
Yeah.
And first game was Kenya versus Zimbabwe at home, that is in Kenya.
Yeah.
And Kenya won that game 45-36. Now, I remember saying something before that game started, and it was that Kenya need to start sort of quick off the blocks.
Yeah.
If you don't and you let Zim start quick or they settle into the game before you start, you being Kenya, of course, then that's it. Like, you're going to have a hard day. You're going to have a hard day for your subs who are coming on. And it probably would have been a more difficult game for Kenya. However, we must mention the fact that at halftime it was 33-17 in favor of Kenya. And, in the second half, I think for maybe 30 minutes, Zimbabwe just kept piling on the points. 19 unanswered points before Kenya scored, I think, the last two tries before, the game ended in their favor. So Kenya, I realized, still have a few lapses in defense, which we saw in the Morocco game, Kenya-Morocco game, where Morocco would take the ball out wide and they'd always sort of be caught off guard and there'll be sort of an overlap. And I remember saying before this game that if Kenya don't look at that and don't rectify that, Zimbabwe will definitely use that to their advantage, which they did. I think that's how they scored most of their tries, on the wings. They take the ball out wide to one side, bring it back, and Kenya were always caught on the back foot, or just they didn't have numbers on the wing. So how was that game for you?
By far the most entertaining game that has happened in the 2018 Rugby Africa Gold Cup. Kenya versus Zimbabwe. I think they're the most in terms of flair. The two teams that play with a lot of flair. And it was always going to be a good game. As you said, Kenya are very quick off the blocks. Davis Chenge getting a hat-trick, Captain Kenya. Tony Onyango dotting down over the line for the fourth try. So by 20 minutes, Kenya already had their bonus point. And as you say, 33-17 at halftime, everyone thought that the game was going to be over at that time. And then I don't know what Peter de Villiers told the Sables at halftime, because Zimbabwe came back with so much intent, and they registered 19 unanswered points. Their captain, Denford Mtangira, actually coming out for his 50th test, which I must say, outside South Africa, that's quite legendary. Not too many people get to play for their country that much, because we don't, save for South Africa, we don't have too many tests happening in the year. That's for the other countries. So for Denford to be able to register 50 tests, you must, it's very impressive. Also, fortunate Chipendo that was his 70th game. So Denford and Tangira going over the line for their first try, and after that the Sables just kept pounding the points. McNabb getting there on the wing, the left wing, getting their last try, and then I think a master stroke by Ian Snook and Murray Alston. They brought in the introduction of Peter Carrier, Curtis Lilako, Oliver Mangeni, Dalmas Chitue is what changed the game for Kenya, and they were able to score 2 tries off driving mauls, and Darwin Mkhize missing one conversion and getting one conversion right. So in terms of tactics, we knew that Kenya were going to start with intent and high tempo. We just didn't think it was going to be that high. We didn't think it was going to be that high, and I think it even shocked the Sables. But once Zimbabwe settled into the game, they brought the game to Kenya, exposed a lot of lapses in Kenya's defense, especially when they were moving out wide. And you could see, you get the feeling that Kenya really haven't practiced on their defensive patterns, because they're just one tight unit. They're not spread across, the pitch. So it was a very entertaining game. Even for a neutral, it was a very entertaining game. And as always, at the RFEA grounds, it was a boisterous crowd. Very many Zimbabweans, must say, were present. So all in all, it was a good show from both teams. Excellent day of rugby, excellent game of rugby. And I think it just goes to showcase the talent that's there in Africa in terms of rugby. save for South Africa and to some extent Namibia, we still have other countries that are playing very entertaining rugby. So it was a very good game. It was a very emotional game. It was a very boisterous crowd. And kudos to Kenya for getting the win, but don't take anything away from Zimbabwe.
Yep, definitely showed up on the day. our bad man of the match. For me, to be honest, I would agree with the man of the match decision, like on the day, which was Samson Onsongo. I think when the game was going well, and even when it wasn't going well for the Kenyans, he still kept his cool, kept his calm, and controlled, the ball distribution very well. So I definitely agree with that decision.
I mean, Samson Onsongo did have a good game, but for me, he was the man of the match. I think my man of the match is Oliver Mangeni. The way he changed the game when he got on, you could see even the way he was able to psych the players. He commanded the lineout, a couple of stolen lineouts, defensive lineouts. That really changed the game and swung the momentum Kenya's way. So my bad man of the game is Oliver Mangeni.
So well done to those two. Then moving on to the next fixture, which was Morocco against Namibia. Now that game ended 63-7 in favor of Namibia. Now, I mean, I think even looking at that game before in our preview, we knew that this game was going to be probably go in favor of Namibia. They've so far they've been the strongest team in this tournament, and there weren't really questions on whether they're going to win it. It's by how much. And Namibia just showing their dominance in that game. Again, they were just hammering down points. Although I must say at halftime it was 35-0 to Namibia, and in the second half they only scored 28 points. So let's at least kudos to Morocco. They didn't They didn't slow down. They kept going. They kept pushing. And they had a better half, if you compare points-wise, than Namibia in the second half. They also managed to score their only try in the game, which was a very surprising one. I think most people didn't know this. But I've consulted a few people because even I didn't know. But it was after Namibia, like just in the second half. So Namibia go and they score. It was actually a penalty try. And before they all got back to their half, they're still high-fiving. Well done. Hey, we're doing well, boys. And a few guys were onside, and I think it was the fly half and the winger from the Moroccan team just decided, hey, you know what, we need to score. So, even before everyone's ready, kick the ball deep, winger runs out, scores. That's very well done from the Moroccans.
Shakir, I think that's his name, the Moroccan winger. One thing is very certain about this Morocco team. Where they lack in terms of conditioning or physicality, they have it in the basic knowledge of the game. And that's very important. We saw that in the game against Kenya when they grounded the ball against the base of the post. We are seeing it in this game versus Namibia, that they're showing us that it is actually okay. There's no problem with them starting the game the way they did, quickly and going for the points. But Namibia continuing with their dominance of the Rugby Africa Gold Cup. I think what's putting Namibia class above the rest. Yes, we do agree that from a technical standpoint, Namibia and maybe Zimbabwe are the ones who are very good on the continent, but they're looking like a mean condition side, and they're running circles around everyone. So 63-7, I did think that it was going to be 63-7. I thought Morocco were going to be able to put in a show, and especially they were at home, taking into account the fact that they were at home. But it looks like they had a bit of stage fright, in all honesty, when you watch that game. And Namibia just imposing themselves. Rowan Kitshoff, Dazel, the captain, Chrisander Bota, Eugene Yantis, Cliven Lobsher, everyone just showing that they're a class above the rest. And they were able to register the 63 points. So now they're eons ahead of the rest of the pack in the Rugby Africa Gold Cup. But kudos to Namibia. They did put up a good show, and they're looking very conditioned and definitely are the team to beat.
I mean, I do agree with you in terms of stage fright. Yes, I mean, most teams, when you're playing against a very strong team, that does come into play. But I think what we need to remember is these are the qualifiers for the Rugby World Cup. You can't afford to, have that stage fright, rather. One thing, though, is discipline. At some point, Morocco actually got a red card in the game because one of their players basically planted one of the Namibian players. And again, I mean, yes, you're losing. It's unlikely that you'll catch up, but you still need to stay disciplined. You can't afford to do things like that in a game. However, I do commend the Moroccans on their physicality. Most of the time, you could tell that a majority of the players were still giving it their all. Whether we're 50 down, whether we're 14 down, they were still playing. I think if you compare it to the Namibia versus Tunisia game, they definitely gave it a better sort of go.
I mean, And that's why I think at the end of the Rugby Africa Gold Cup, Morocco are going to be the darling of everyone.
Yep.
Is the way they play the game, the heart with which they play the game. I mean, look, perennial competitors, Zimbabwe, Kenya, they've been able to steal a point against Zimbabwe away. They've been able to push Kenya to the limit in their game at home. Wasn't the case with Namibia, but everyone is going to, when this tournament ends, everyone is going to have a special place for Morocco in their heart, because they did and they have played with heart. Not particularly in this game, but they have played with heart.
Yeah.
Look, Namibia just showing that they're a class act and they're miles above the rest.
Yep.
Yeah.
So for this game, again, like the Namibian game last weekend, I do not have a man of the match. I mean, honestly, it's really hard for me to choose when you're having people scoring left, right, and center, and everyone's sort of showing you why they're on the team and why they're here and why they're the favorites basically in this tournament.
Yeah.
So who is your bad man of the match?
For the second time since the Rugby Africa Gold Cup started, Cliven Lobsher for me. He's a very entertaining. Taking into account Namibia has a lot of similarities with South Africa in terms of their rugby. You don't expect to see very flashy fly-halves, but he has the flair. He knows the role of a fly-half. He commands his backline very well. He has a very nasty step, and we saw all that against Morocco. So my bad man for this game has to be Cliven Lobsher.
All right, so well done to him.
Yeah.
I don't think I disagree with you in the sense that he's always put up a stellar performance.
Yes.
So yeah, well done to him.
Well done.
Guys, I think I really hope guys are watching these matches.
Yes.
I mean, whether it's your country playing or not,
yes,
these matches are very entertaining. You can always catch them on Kwese,
yes,
and that's either on YouTube or on Facebook,
yeah,
or obviously if it's a home game, at home.
Yeah.
But yeah, also remember you can find us on Instagram. You can also like our page on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm Demi Duffield.
And I'm Nara Kamuya.
See you in the preview for the next matches.